Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 100,000 subscriber live stream special. Very exciting. Very great day. I'm super stoked to have all you guys joining us. We have two guests already on the horn. I got Actual Justice Warrior, another YouTuber, another buddy of mine. What's up, dude?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having me on. Congratulations on 100K.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Thanks a lot for coming on. We did a video together a few weeks ago. We've been staying in touch, so I'm glad to see you again. We also got Michael, one of our Patreon supporters. Thanks for joining us, buddy. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Happy to be here. I appreciate it. Congratulations on 100,000 subscribers. That's a major milestone.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you. Not to make this all about me, but let's make this all about me.
Absolutely.
No, I'm kidding. We're going to jump into some topics, guys. I'm going to be reading your live chats and your super chats. I'm going to be taking all your questions in the super chat. I already got that screen up. First thing I wanted to talk about, though, we're going to just jump into some topics. First one I thought was very interesting. Spider-Man Homecoming came out last week. You may have seen my video about it. I think it was last Saturday.
I did.
And it was it's gotten a little controversial. I mean, it happens on my channel. It's not like new to me. I've had plenty of videos get disliked and get just mixed reactions, but this one it's pretty crazy. It's like almost, I think it's like 7,000 likes versus 4,000 dislikes. A lot of controversy in the comments. I think some people thought I was maybe actually I got two sides to it. I got either I was too soft on the movie, what are you doing liking that movie so much? And then I also got a lot of people saying, "Oh, the anti-SJW is an SJW now. You're just crying about everything, blah blah blah." So that was my kind of initial take from it. I'm going to read the chat. I'm going to see what you guys on the horn here think about it. What'd you guys think of the video in Spider-Man? Maybe start with Sean. Sean's the Actual Justice Warrior.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw the video and I'm like, I guess you got some of the heat because of like the title was seemed like you're going into a direction that you weren't. But like if you watch the video, you're like, they're in Queens, right? And I live in Queens, so I know it's like the most diverse place in the entire world.
Exactly. So, yeah, like, I made that point too. And a lot of people, that's why I felt a lot of people really didn't even watch, because there were a lot of comments that seemed knee-jerk and like, oh, they're in Queens. I mean, they're in Queens. And I'm like, dude, if you watched my video, I mean, I know it was like 4 minutes in or something, but I totally, it's obvious it's in Queens. That's like the first kind of, oh, okay, now we could see why there's a mixed cast. But go on, Sean. What else were you going to say?
Yeah, the only thing that I would have disagreed with you on is when I was into the movie, the only character I didn't buy was Flash Thompson. It's just because he seemed like he was like wussier than Peter, yet he was Peter's bully. But other than that, like that's like the least important casting in the entire movie. Everybody else was great. Like it's a revival of Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was well done all around. I think it's hard to say it was a bad movie. I think you can nitpick a few things. Definitely, I did see a lot of comments about Flash Thompson too, and the most thing was like, well, first of all, a lot of people called me. I'll admit that I was wrong about his ethnicity. I said he was an Indian Flash Thompson, but it turns out he's actually Guatemalan or Hispanic or South American or something. So I missed that, but I'll say in my defense, I mean, he looks Indian. So, and he's actually played an Indian before. I think it might have mixed me up. I think he was in, what was it, like one of those movies in a hotel? It was like I think it was a Wes Anderson movie or something. He played like an Indian hotel worker or something. That's besides the point. That was a big controversy kind of comment section. I'm reading the live chat too. You guys are going nuts, by the way. Thank you so much for joining in. We got 284 people watching already. Thank you. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy 100K. We got 123 likes, but we got time. We'll work on that. We're going to be here rocking the mic all day. Let's go ahead and pass it over to Michael. Michael, what did you think about Spider-Man and the video and the controversy?
Well, I mean, I have not seen the movie yet, but I mean, I kind of felt like maybe I'd been there, done that with that movie, but I heard good reviews about it. I mean, I'll get to it eventually, you know what I mean? But I got good reviews across the board, and I watched your video. I watched a couple spoiler reviews of the movie. I mean, I'm not really sweating it, but yeah, and I watched your video. But I mean, yeah, like you were completely on point with the diversity of the neighborhood. I mean, of course, like about a year ago, when I first saw the trailer for the movie, I thought that they were pandering with the Mary Jane, kind of switcheroo. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. brown washing a lot of characters,
yeah.
supposedly brown washing, black washing, whatever you call it, but no one calls it that whenever
Right.
you switch out a white character. Anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, you seem like you were pretty on point with the diversity of that neighborhood. I mean,
Cool.
that's realistic, you know what I'm saying? So it didn't really faze me too much. Yeah, I mean,
it seemed to make sense. And then I think on top of that, from what you're saying, I'll admit I do have a special place for Spider-Man. I think I said that in the video. I don't know as specific, but you know, that's one of my favorite ones. So there's an admitted bias there, and probably another reason, you know, I gave it such praise in my video. Looks like we might have a new person joining in on the chat. Is that God? God, can you hear us? Okay, he's maybe still connecting. Looks like he had to drop out, but God was on the last Patreon live stream.
God has forsaken us.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, God's a fan. God's a Patreon supporter. I mean, if you guys need any more, if you need any more proof that this show's going places, we're supported by he Almighty. Talking about Spider-Man, I'm going to read the chat now for a second. I did get I think we got a donation here. We're going to shout out to the donation on $1. Let me check the super chat. $1 from Black Hat. Thank you so much, Black Hat. That's awesome. Shout out to Black Hat. I'm going to be reading all your super chats for sure. I'm going to try to take a look at the comment section as well. It gets a little crazy. Try to keep up the best I can. Let's shout out to Tanner, Nicholas, Noah Garcia. We got I mildly enjoy Batman and Superman movies. That's a very creative, awesome screen name. We got Teacup 44, Daft 2chans, Mikey the Crafter. Shout out to Anija Connor. Speaking of Connor, we're going to get to some Conor McGregor fight talk, probably more towards the end of the video in one of our next topics. Thank you, Princess Diana, for the happy 100K. That's awesome. Back to Spider-Man real quick, and then we'll move on. Spider-Man video was very controversial, and we're just talking about that. Someone just asked in a super chat, a new super chat, said, "What is your favorite YouTuber?" That's tough for me. I have a lot that I watch. Maybe we could put this out to the group. It looks like God might have joined us. God, can you hear us? Yeah, I heard you for a second.
Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah. What's up, dude?
What's going on?
What's up, God?
What's up, God? How about we pass it to not to put you on the spot, buddy, but we got a question here. It says, "What's your favorite YouTuber?" God, what's your favorite YouTuber?
Favorite YouTuber? Damn. Shit. Let me pull up my page to see what I watch all the time.
First one comes to mind to me. I know I watch a lot of. I have iDubbbz. I have Red Letter Media. I watch Undoomed. I watched Atheism is Unstoppable. What else we got? I got a bunch of subs too. I do sub to a lot of channels. What about let's go to Sean. Sean, do you have any favorite YouTubers?
You mentioned it. My absolute favorite is Red Letter Media. Like I actually went to school to study film because of Red Letter Media.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Nice. Yeah, those guys are great. Awesome. They're a movie channel. If you guys haven't tuned in specifically, you probably have. You've probably seen one of their videos and not even known it. They got real famous around 2012 or something with their Star Wars Episode 1 reviews, and from there they've just done all kinds of cool stuff. Very funny channel. Any other ones you watched, Sean?
I mean, I watch a lot of them, but it's all like people that we like in the same community and all that.
People we know,
yeah. People
you guys
I don't
can
know,
say no bullshit. You guys can all say no bullshit.
Oh yeah, that's what I was. I'm not trying to say no bullshit, but you know what? He has me on his show. No bullshit. He's a great YouTuber. Definitely watch it.
I appreciate that though. I appreciate you lying to me. I appreciate it. Let's go to Michael. Michael, you got any YouTubers that you liked besides the channel you're on, of course?
Well, yeah, you did mention one of them. Yeah, definitely Red Letter Media. I enjoy their stuff. I discovered them when I was looking for reviews for Ghostbusters 2016, and they trashed it, and like it was just a great like introduction to their work and stuff. But also, I also got to go with H3H3. I mean, those guys are
I forgot about them. That's one for me too, for sure. That's one so funny. So, yeah, they're funny. Go ahead.
I was gonna say they destroyed the pranksters, and I do love them for that. Yeah. So definitely H3H3.
Yeah, that's great, and that's a good influence for me. I mean, some channels influence me or I think everything I watch does a little bit, but there's definitely, I think if you ask, you could see the Red Letter Media, but I just cover different topics kind of thing. Like I did movies and more movies before on other channels, but with them, they're just like the movie one. And then the other one you're saying, they just kind of mix up their topics. The other shout out to Super Chat. We got $5 Canadian from Micro Colonel. You're going places, bud. Congratulations. Thanks so much. That's awesome. Fucking A. I can't believe it. Another Canadian likes me. I thought all the Canadians were vegans that hated me, but I guess we got some good fans. That's awesome. That's awesome. They say Pole Lop donated $2 and says, "Wife, no BS. You're a piece of BS. Congrats on 100. Epic." Thank you so much. Yes, this is a celebratory stream. We're just here to thank you guys, thank everyone watching, thank the Patreon supporters for coming on and being at the ground level. I want to thank Sean again. We've done videos before. You've helped me with other stuff. Great to have everyone here. Fucking A. We've got a ton of chat going on. I think we're good to move on to the next topic, though. I think we covered Spider-Man pretty good. Let's go back. I kind of mentioned this. Oh wait, go ahead.
I have one quick point about Spider-Man and one quick point about other YouTubers. Everybody loves Philip DeFranco. That's just a fact.
For sure. For sure.
But about Spider-Man, the real controversy, and we need to get down to this, is the people still defending the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. Like, let it go, guys.
Okay, yeah, that one that's hard to defend.
There's still people out there, man. They exist. They're irrational, and they need to be dealt with, like, removed from society.
Yeah, it was so weird. I mean, the first Amazing Spider-Man with Garfield, I felt like it was watchable. Like I tried to watch it, like I wanted to watch it, but then by 2, it was just a shit show. And all I remember right now is the guy Jamie Foxx as Electro, and he's all blue and stuff. Right. It was the worst villain ever.
He has the motivation of the Riddler in that terrible Batman movie, with the look of Mr. Freeze from the other terrible Batman movie. Like,
yeah, like very campy, old school.
But number one is a bullshit movie too. Like, just watch how they kill Uncle Ben and compare that to the Tobey Maguire one. Like, he wants a muscle milk. It's like a product placement. And unlike the original movie where he lets the killer walk by him, and it's like, oh, he had all this power, and he let a guy walk by him he could have easily stopped. The dude's like across the store. So Spider-Man would have had to jump like fucking 40 feet in the air and like tackle that guy to stop him from killing Uncle Ben. Also, he's doing like a snatch and grab when he has a gun to shoot Uncle Ben for some reason. Like, those movies are terrible. Emma Stone is better.
I was so sick of the Uncle Ben stuff too. Like, I'm really glad the new one left that out and just kind of, let's not do the origin story again.
Yeah, I think those movies kind of speak to where Sony's at kind of in general with their movies. Like, they're just a hot mess, you know, like they've had so many bombs like in the past few years and stuff. And those movies, I didn't see them personally. I mean, I trust you guys' judgment on them. It sounded pretty chaotic. I heard some stuff about them, but yeah, I mean, wasn't Amy Pascal involved in them too or something? Or
yeah, she's all the Sony stuff. Yeah, and she was involved in the new one as well, but I think the deal was Marvel had all the creative control, and that was, you know, why it panned out.
Yeah. Better than expected, better than usual. Yeah.
But yeah,
shout out to the chat. Someone said we got the Vaginitarian and Salt Collector in the house. I like Vaginitarian's name, by the way. I think God is on the mic. God, do you want to join in? Is your microphone working, bud? Okay, maybe he's still checking. Maybe he's still getting ready. We do have our Patreons coming in, guys. If you guys want to join in, I sent emails to the top tier people. We're also reading your super chats, talking about Spider-Man. I think the only Spider-Man you really need to see is either the very first movie or the new one. I think the other ones in between.
I throw in Spider-Man 2 in there.
Yeah, totally. Totally. I would watch them all if you like any kind of Spider-Man stuff. They're all worth a watch. But yeah, if it's like the Spider-Man 2 is like the great sequel that just kind of raises the stakes very well.
Yeah, I was gonna say before Marvel really blew up at the movies, like they ranked like the best superhero movies, they ranked like Superman the movie, like Spider-Man 2, and The Dark Knight as like the best superhero movies. I mean, I like Spider-Man 2. I think that one was pretty good, pretty solid. I actually didn't mind Tobey Maguire that bad. I actually liked Spider-Man 3 too. Even, I mean, everyone hated that movie, but I didn't think it was that bad.
Spider-Man 3 is still cool just for fun. Like if you just don't look too hard into it or be hard on it, it's funny. The worst part I think is the Venom with the guy from that 70s show, Topher Grace. That was the worst part.
Yeah.
The dancing, but like three is like watchable for like a quarter of the movie, maybe half of the movie, and then it like dries off the cliff.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man 2 starts with the Rhino, and like the Rhino is like the worst thing in that movie. And
I saw a clip
barely in the fucking movie.
Yeah. They also, was that 2 or 3?
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it was mostly Octopus, and that's why it was so good. Like they did Dr. Octopus so good in Spider-Man 2. Man, that was awesome.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So jumping in, covering Spider-Man, the controversy about the video I did last week, pretty much cleared that up, cleared the air on that. Now let's talk about another thing, because we're doing a lot of updates. We're kind of it's now that I think about it, my list, it's kind of like a retrospect of some of the videos we've done recently, because we are celebrating 100,000 subscribers. In fact, I'm almost at 108, which is crazy. I've gotten like 20,000 or so in the last week, so I'm really stoked that you guys are catching on, having fun. We're going to do some more no bullshit, of course, next week with the regular videos. Today, I want to talk about Mr. Richard Vegan Gains. He had an interesting video over the last week. A lot of people covered it. I purposely didn't cover it because I'm pretty much done with vegan stuff. I did my bit, and I don't think it's super relevant unless something new pops up. But we're in a live stream. We're talking trash, and you could talk about a lot of things here. So we're going to talk about Richard's new video where he goes dumpster diving. He goes out and he's with some new friend he found, and I guess they're going in dumpsters looking for food, and that's supposedly the next step. If you're a vegan, I mean, if you want to harm the least amount possible, you got to really reduce to as much as you can. And the funny part here is, and I was talking about this with Actual Justice Warrior right before the show. We did a lot of talking about freeganism and stuff when we prepared for that debate. And when I debated him, I brought it up, and I think that might have been, the first time Richard heard or thought about it. Definitely recently. No one else brought it up in the debates. And then what has it been? 2 or 3 weeks later, he's in a dumpster. I mean, that's got to be related, right, guys?
It has to be.
You better be careful, because you also said that the furthest he could go is kill himself. So like, we gotta wait 2 weeks on that one.
Dude, I'm worried if that happens, like I'm gonna be liable, because I've predicted pretty much everything he does. Wow. Dude, it's so funny. Honestly, I don't want to like toot my own horn on this, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen the show. I've been watching a lot with my girl. It's called The Mentalist, and it's like you seen it?
Oh, no, I've heard of it. Is it still on CBS or whatever? Is that the show we're talking about? Okay.
Yeah. It's very underrated. I mean, most of the time you would look over a procedural like that. It's like a murder show, solving murders. But the guy is really cool. He's kind of like a Sherlock kind of guy. He's like got like very good eyes, and he reads body language and everything. Anyway, the funny thing is, I feel like that guy sometimes, because people think he's psychic and he's always predicting stuff, and like I just keep predicting everything that these vegans do. It's ridiculous. I have more comments that I could get into, because I still get tweets and messages and stuff, and they'll send me stuff, and then I'll just call them out like right away. I'm like, dude, I think you might be loving the animals too much and stuff like that. But let's get back to the video. Did you guys see the video, the new Richard Vegan Gains?
Hold on, I got something that might break your foundation about The Mentalist.
Okay.
There's a show that was on USA that I watched, and I've heard of The Mentalist because they make fun of it on that show, that came out before The Mentalist. It's called Psych, right? Yeah. It's the exact same premise of The Mentalist.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Ripped it off.
I know what you're talking about, because I thought of that.
The Mentalist.
Yeah, I heard Psych was good too. I've watched it like a little bit back in the day. It's a bit older, like I think it's like 10 years ago or something now. The Mentalist is like 2008 to like 2015 or something. But yeah, no, I totally know what you're saying. If you want to get into Mentalist, I'll talk about it all day because I'm actually super stoked on that show. I'll recommend it. I have no shame. You guys are probably going to hate me for that because you're like, oh, why aren't you watching like dramas like Game of Thrones? And, but I do watch Game of Thrones as well. But okay, back to the Mentalist. Like you said, I totally thought of that because I thought of Psych and I also thought of Sherlock. And then I thought of Lie to Me, which is another one.
Yeah, I saw
and that one is similar too. It just seems to be like a very common kind of setup. You know, you got this guy who just is good, is smart, Sherlock style. I say
he's
Sherlock
not like a people person. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like a loner.
Well, but the premise of Lie to Me, it's like it's based on a guy who reads body language really well. Like the premise of Psych, and Psych came out like I think it started in 06 or 05, so only a few years before. The premise of Psych is the exact same premise. The dude's hyper observant, and he pretends to be a sidekick for the police department because it's more of a comedy. But it's literally the same thing. It's amazing.
I think I could tell you the differences though, because I've seen both, and not like in a defense, but I tried to figure it out myself because I was like, what is the difference? And I think the main thing is with Psych, he used to pretend to be a psychic, right?
Well, he pretends throughout the whole show to be a psychic.
Okay, yeah. So what it was with the Mentalist, the Mentalist is he used to be one of those like psychic readers that goes on TV and does those shows and like does cold readings. Like he used to do that, and he would even, I think he even pretended he talked to ghosts, and he also does hypnotizing. So I don't know if Psych does any hypnotizing, but like I think that's kind of like the Mentalist thing was he would hypnotize people. So correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if that's a big difference, but I think that's kind of how they tried to angle it. It was like because one of the tricks that the Mentalist does from time to time is he'll get you in a trance and you confess something, or he'll do something like that. Like so that's kind of like their different angle. And then there's also a more dramatic side to his backstory because I think Psych is much more of a comedy.
Yeah, it's a definite comedy.
Yeah, but I could definitely see what you're saying as the ripoff because that was like the first thing I thought of too. I was like, look at all these other shows that kind of do this. Anyway,
watch both. I like Psych, and yeah, it's not a big deal. I don't want to fight over the Mentalist all day.
No, I know. But let's go back to the Richard video. We were talking about vegan gains going in a dumpster. Did either of you guys see that one? Michael, did you see it?
I did not see it. I kind of like. When you kind of stop fooling with that guy, like I stopped paying attention to him too. Like I never actually watched any of his videos except for the ones you had on your show, you know. But
yeah, you're lucky then. Yeah, I tried not to watch him. I'll keep looking around like if I hear something. The only reason I heard about this one was I think Baring did a video on it the next day. And then I saw that he was in a dumpster, and then I think Sean, you messaged me too, like a little bit after I saw it. I was like, "Yeah, I watched it. That was awesome."
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it was amazing. I followed the video back, like I followed the link in the video, which I almost never do. Right? I followed the link to his actual channel, watched the full video, and like, there's a number of dumb things in there, like the fact that Vegan Gains believes that bread doesn't expiry.
That was one of my favorite lines. I think in Canada they call it expiry. I think that's the thing, and it's like they don't realize that that's a Canadian word at all.
Yeah, it's the expiry date. But like they did that, and like it was funny because he's like, this bread, they're reading it as 10/2017, right, as the date, and like the video came out on like the 11th, or they shot it on the 10th or whatever, so it expired that day. But they thought it expired in October. And like they pick up the milk later and they read the date and they're like 10/17. And like it never clicked. Like, first of all, if you think bread lasts 3 months, you're retarded. If you think milk lasts 3 months, you're fucking quadruple retarded. Like, how do you not look at that and be like, oh, I misread that. But later in the video, nobody talks about this. And I brought it up to No Bullshit earlier. You see them go to another garbage can, and like it's just another garbage can, like it's like an actual trash can, not a dumpster, and they're digging through it, And the guy that was in the dumpster in the first video has fucking holes in his glove from the first dumpster. So, like, they're not even smart enough to change their gloves in between trash. So everything they got is contaminated.
Oh, it's gross. It's a noble effort. It's such a noble effort, but it's so misguided and poorly executed. It was just hilarious seeing them. It's hilarious seeing Richard in a dumpster, and you know that he makes like I think $4,000 a month on his Patreon, and he's in a dumpster digging up old milk.
Oh my god, he's owning that shit.
What's funny is like I don't follow like vegan gains. This is like the most vegan gains outside of some debates that I've ever watched. But like I ended up watching vegans' responses to it, and like they were like, well, he was trying to show the waste of the dairy industry or the waste of food. It's like, shut up. He got embarrassed about veganism and he didn't know bread doesn't last 3 months.
Yeah, he's sitting on a lot of anger. So I can.
Yeah, dude, it is bringing it back to freeganism and I guess our debate. I mean, I think him facing that, he could brush it off in the moment, but over the last few weeks, he's like, wait a second. And that's how I feel that those whole debates can go with those people, because they're never going to admit they're wrong or anything. But over time, they're going to be like, wait a second. Yeah. Wait a second. My food is killing animals. And, dude, it's almost like we're driving them crazy, low key. Yeah. Low key gaslighting them.
I got a couple quick points real quick. Well, when you first mentioned that he was like in the dumpster, I'm talking when you first brought it up, like I immediately thought of The Simpsons. We know when Homer's brother, Danny DeVito, was like telling Bart that like pizza boxes are an excellent source of cheese. I remember that right away.
That's classic.
No, but also too, shit. What was I think I forgot my second point.
It's cool, man. Cool, man. Yeah, if you get it. What was the we got another super chat real quick about expiry. We actually have a Canadian chiming in, I believe. Michael Colonel, thanks again for $5. That's fucking awesome. He says expiry dates are actually bullshit, though. Not defending vegans. He's a sociopath. I think I agree with both parts of that. I would totally say, I mean, I don't go by expiry. Now I'm saying it. I don't go by expiration dates by heart. I mean, you can look at a gallon of milk in your fridge and it's like in a controlled place and you're like, okay, yeah, it can go a few days. As long as I just smell it, I could go a week or something, really. I mean, it just depends. Like if you're looking at your food, if you know what to look for, then you could go like longer or on the reverse too. I mean, it can go bad before the expiration date as well.
Plus, but like expiration dates are bullshit to a certain extent. But like the expiration dates.
There you go, writing my videos again. You're writing my titles again. That's a good one. Expiration dates are bullshit.
Go
ahead.
But like the least bullshit expiration dates are like milk and bread. Like canned food that says it's going to expire in 3 years. Like you're gonna 3 years on a specific day. Like 3 years a day after that, it's probably going to be fine. Or if it's not, it would probably be rotten 2 days before the date.
Plus, everything's
like milk, we know.
Yeah, everything's pumped full of preservatives anyway these days. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's just just rounding down on the dates. I did remember my point I was going to make. I'd like to maybe settle this right now once and for all. Like, if you find like a box of eclairs on the top in the trash, and there's one eclair in the box, is it safe to eat that eclair?
George Costanza.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Wait, whose trash is it?
Oh yeah, well no, I was going by the show, so I mean,
that's good.
Because if it's like your trash, then you know what's in there. Then it could be fine if it's on the top. If it's like a dumpster outside of the back alley of a supermarket.
Right.
Yeah. Or two, even if you're going by dumpsters, it's like, where's the dumpster? Is it a dumpster in a hospital? Like, is it like next to like some horrible hospital waste, or is it like a dumpster in Beverly Hills? And there's going to be like fresh furniture. You could find a fucking couch on the side of the road that's worth more than a month's rent.
Right.
Yeah, that's New York. That's New York culture too. Is if you need something and you see it on the street, you bring it in. But you still got to be careful for like bed bugs and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they do that in New York too. That's what I was saying. I see done in LA. I did a lot when I lived in a different neighborhood, because if you're by like higher rent neighborhoods, they'll put out new couches and stuff. Like I was saying, I've gotten beds, I've gotten box springs and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, some of them are good, some of them are bad. You just got to know which ones to not fuck around with.
But with food in like an urban environment, like I take the subway, I see fucking rats. Like, you know what I mean? Like food in an urban environment, because he's in Toronto. Not the best.
What's Toronto? I keep hearing people bring it up.
It's like this back alley, like basically it's like a hellhole.
No, I'm playing. I have this new joke where I just pretend I don't know where Toronto is. I swear I've gotten people so many times. I really just did it on one video. I think it was like my first Vegan Gains video or something, or the second one. And I said he lives in Toronto. I never heard of it, but I guess it's like a thing. And then people really thought I didn't know where Toronto was, so I keep saying that now. I think everyone in the audience should do that as well. Like if anyone ever brings up Toronto, you just pretend you don't know where it is. That's like the biggest insult you can do.
Well, there's a rule on the internet that I discovered, is that no matter how obviously sarcastic you can be, you seriously.
Yeah.
I made a video where I photoshopped Barrett. What's the dude's name from the Rockets? James Harden. Harden's face into Wonder Woman's armpits, because feminists were complaining about Wonder Woman not having underarm hair, and people were like, "You feminist cuck." It's like, it's a joke, dude. Like I was making fun of them. Like nobody. The internet there'll always be 1% that will take you seriously on the internet, no matter what.
I think that's like almost like involved with the Poe's law kind of thing, where you can't it helps with the internet. It's like they can't tell if you're sarcastic or serious, and someone will always take you either or. You're always going to get at least one person that'll take you serious on any kind of joke.
I did when I did a debate with vegans, and this is the last thing on veganism. They kept saying carnist, right? And every time they said that, I would be like, "What the fuck does a carnival have to do with this?" And carnies, and like the comments were like, "This fucking idiot, he's so illogical." And I'm like laughing my ass off.
Oh, it's hilarious. They're the easiest to troll, and it's like the best when you just don't play their games. It really gets them upset. Like you're saying with terminology I've done before, and then I've also just even when I was in the debate, if you just don't like go along with their whatever bullshit questions they're setting up, or they'll try to pin you in the corner with something else, and if you don't go along with it, they start like reeing and like autistic screeching. It's like, you're not answering my question.
It's like, answer my question, and then as soon as you try to talk, no, shut the fuck up and answer my question.
It's exactly like that. And I want to get off the vegan thing too, but the last thing I'll say is it's so funny that people will still look back on that debate and be like, act like I was like totally owned and lost and I was being a baby or something. And I'm just like, dude, he was the one yelling and freaking out and cutting off and like just the worst questions, the craziest questions ever, and somehow I was the one being a baby.
It's like a lot of people don't understand like the logical structure of their arguments, and like the point was to get him to move, because he's never going to admit he's wrong. So you just get him to keep moving from animal rights to reducing animal suffering, like back and forth, and like that's the point, because they're saying they're consistent, and if you're shifting your argument all the time, you're not consistent.
Yeah, that's the vegan gains shuffle. That's what you got to deal with. Pretty much all vegans do the same kind of tactics there. Real quick, super chat. Michael, were you going to say something else though?
No.
Okay, cool. Just checking. We got another super chat from Micro Colonel, another 5 Canadian. Thanks a lot, dude. Fucking killing it today. He says, I don't think there are any sane people here in Toronto other than myself and Jordan Peterson, Geddy Lee, and the guy who convulsional RNNs. Maybe that's another YouTuber, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think didn't Drake come from Toronto? Ew, gross.
Oh, Drake, yeah, I believe so, yeah.
And then I think what's that one girl, Superwoman on YouTube. She's like a Toronto girl, and like pretty much every other thing. The coolest Canadians. There are cool Canadians though. Let's not rag on Canadians. I actually love Canadians. It's just the ones that you hear about a lot lately are like vegan assholes.
Yeah, they're cool Canadians. There's like Wolverine. And like Wolverine.
Yeah, there's also Wolverine's kid.
There's also Logan.
Yeah, dude. First of all, Trailer Park Boys. That's like classic Canadians to me. I put that out in another video, and that's like one of my favorite TV shows of all time. And then there's like tons of old classic comedians. I don't know if new SNL or new Saturday Night Live gets a lot, but I remember back in the 90s, like it was so many Canadians that were awesome, like Mike Myers and Dan Aykroyd, and there was like a ton. I know there's more. I don't want to.
Jim Carrey's Canadian.
Yeah,
he was the shit in the 90s.
Yeah, hell yeah, yeah. Stuff like that is great. People, I mean, I know we're just naming like celebrities and stuff, but we're just talking shit. The next topic I think I had was. Let's see here. We talked about Richard. We talked about his new video. We talked about Spider-Man. Now let's update on Watch Cut Video. Watch Cut Video came up on my channel this week. I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 days ago. I did a video. It was called "Teaching Kids How to Masturbate is Bullshit." A controversial title, I'll admit. I was actually a little iffy on using that title, but I felt it was appropriate because, you know, that's what it seemed like in the video. I mean, that we had a lot of hand gestures and it happened. So I figured, you know, I know YouTube is a little picky about titles and about certain controversial things in the title. Like, for example, I think my previous video was I mentioned mass shootings, and I didn't spell that wrong on accident. Some people thought I had a typo, but I actually spelled shootings wrong on purpose, because if you put a word like that, you put shooting or Muslim or terrorist or something, you're very likely to get flagged or demonetized. Now, with the Watch Cut Video one, I felt like, okay, they were inappropriate enough to make this video title. They had a title. It was called Parents Explain Masturbation. Not as graphic, a little more, I don't know, presentable. But I felt like my title worked because they were teaching kids how to masturbate, and that was fucked up. And everyone was talking about that this week. Let's get some initial reactions. What do you guys think on the microphone? Sean or Michael? Who wants to go first?
I'll go. Yeah, I mean, I saw the video. Obviously, like I did like a triple take when I saw the title of the video. But yeah, I mean, I watched it. It's just another example of the left like subverting every like norm of society. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I mean,
it's just furthering like degeneracy and like going down this rabbit hole. And yeah, like you said, I think the one of the worst things I noticed was like no one thought this wasn't going to be okay. Like no one stopped and was like,
right.
I don't know, like how did it get that far along? I mean, it's one thing too for the video to come out on Watch Cut's channel with 2 million subscribers, by the way. I mean, fucking huge. That's crazy. then also YouTube promoted it because they put on their trending page and it was like up to number 2. Sean, what do you think about that?
It was there for like 2 days too on the trending page, like, and
oh yeah.
It's the video's ridiculous, and like Mike had it right where it's like the left is just crazy. There's like a weird like contingent of the left. I'm not gonna say the whole left that like hates Western society so much that they want to destroy like everything that's like socially normal, including not sexualizing children. Like,
oh my god, no decency.
Yeah. The video is like super fucking cringy, but like the thing about people not noticing it, maybe in the editing or whatever, like somebody pixelated the dildo in the video.
Yes.
And it's like, you pixelate something because you're like, hey, this might not be appropriate for children, right? Like that's the idea, because like adults, who cares?
No, that was the best point I didn't make in my video. I didn't get to that in my video, but I keep hearing it, and that's the one I wish I had. It's so crazy. I wish I would have said something, because it's like you're about to say, like, how could they censor something and then they're not censoring it for these kids in real life?
Yeah, they're giving it. They were like letting the kids touch it or whatever. It's crazy. I think I tweeted that point at you, and I was like, yeah, it's mind blowing that like nobody saw this, and like it ends up on the page. And look, I'm not saying that like you should beat your kid if like you catch him masturbating, But like, there's a difference between like you like talking to your kid about something like that in private and doing it in public with props, putting it on the internet for views. Like, it's creepy. Like, it's creepy to show children how to use sex toys. Like,
it's
cool.
super weird. And I think a lot of it too, to get into the specifics, I know I had my own video about it. You guys probably saw it a few days ago, but really it's like they weren't just talking about it and like being casual and appropriate. Like, there's appropriate ways to do it. It was also the execution. It's like they had the toys, they had the lube. The guy was like pretending to finger himself. The chick is like holding a dildo and like pretend jerking it off. Like, that was the shit that just really crossed the line.
Yeah, and what was obnoxious about it is like, it's like, all right, if I have like a boy and I have to, and I'm talking to him about like masturbation, right? It's like my kid, it's not a random boy, right? Who am I? Watch Cut TV? like I'm not gonna teach him how a girl masturbates. Like, they went way overboard. Like, you have like a woman with her daughter, and it's like, this is how you jerk off a dick, and then cum comes out of here. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, she has talk. Oh, it's too graphic. Right. And I know. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just agreeing with what Sean was saying, and that just dawned on me right now. Like, why would they have that for the girls? You know what I'm saying? That is it's one thing to explain something about your body, but then you're like showing how girls jerk off. Like, that can wait. That's a conversation that can wait. Real quick, there's more developments on the Watch Cut story, or just kind of some little updates I want to get to. But real quick, shout out to the super chat. Thank you, Matthew Perlinger, $10. Amazing. Love you. Thank you so much. He says, love watching your videos. Keep it up. We will keep it up. Thanks a lot for supporting us. And then next is Misty Spillers, one of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much, Misty, for joining the show. She donated another $10. Hell yeah. Congrats on 100K. I'd give more, but you're on Patreon. You are on Patreon. You're a loyal supporter. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you everyone else who's on Patreon, and just everyone for watching, and hitting the like button helps. You don't have to, I know money could be tight or whatever, but everything helps on this channel. Comments, liking, subscribing, and you guys have been really kicking ass, and I got to thank you for it. That's why we're doing this 100K celebration. Fucking A. But back, yeah, hell yeah. And then back to the Watch Cut, because the things I wanted to bring up that kind of happened since the video, since I reviewed them, I wasn't the only one. Of course, there's tons of people reviewing them in the last week. And then I noticed one thing. First thing I noticed was they were deleting comments, and that was actually happening when I was making my video. And I mentioned that because, like, I remember the first finding it and then going back, and I couldn't see any of the good comments I was going to mention. And it's because they deleted like every top comment. They just like trying to damage control, and they've even penned a new comment, which I think is pretty gay, because it's like they won't even admit they're wrong. They have not admitted they're wrong, or they don't think they did anything wrong, didn't do nothing, because that you could tell by the way they pinned this new comment. Maybe I should bring it up. Just off the top of my head, I remember they pinned this like anonymous comment, and it said something about, teaching kids this stuff is appropriate. I'm glad, something about like my kid needed to learn this stuff by 9 years old, blah, blah, blah. So basically they kind of are trying to still hold this position. They're not taking down the video clearly. They're taking the views and the money. Actually, now that I think about it, they might not be getting money, because the next update I was going to bring in was the video is age restricted now. So there was some kind of change there. I think might have been some people flagging it. I know a lot of people I talked to, and I got a lot of comments of people saying they were going to flag it. I don't encourage flagging or anything like that, but I just heard about it happening. And yeah, something happened that made the video age restricted now. And I think that means they might not be monetized anymore either. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Did you see any of the comments or heard anything since it happened?
They were going the Sony route and censoring negative comment. I restricting things, but I, of course, it. You know what I mean? But like, there's really two choices you have. You like defend, or you're down and you don't say anything. That's like what happens on YouTube. Yeah,
I think it was definitely worthy of a takedown. I mean, I would never make that video, but if it was me and I saw this kind of thing, I would just take it down. I probably wouldn't comment either. I would just maybe pretend it didn't happen, but that's much more respectable than pinning a comment to try and defend yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help thinking about like some like pervy producer like in a boardroom like talking to a bunch of interns and like suggesting that as like a good idea, and because the interns are all yes men or yes women, so they're all like agreeing that that's a great idea for that video. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what goes through people's heads? You know what I mean?
There was a lot of people involved because it's like a big operation there. So there's definitely 10 or so people saying, "Okay, here we go, here we go." I mean, there was like 10 people in the video,
right?
And then there's like editors and stuff. So they're like, "Yeah, that's good, that's good," and then they cut it together. Like, can you imagine looking at that raw footage? I know Sean's edited videos before. Like, imagine looking at raw footage of someone like jerking a dildo in front of a little kid who's like has her hand over her face and is like fucking just petrified. And they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, hold on, let's get that hand motion in there. We really need to get that hand motion in. Can we cut it here? We want to get the whole bit." They really let that shit in there.
Face when they changed shots, they kept her face in the shot, like in the second camera angle. So like,
yeah,
I couldn't imagine, like, if I was first of all, if I was editing like that, I would be like, what even are we doing? Like, there's so many parts in there that are like funny at first, but then really sad. Like the kid who's like, "Oh, it's not gonna fit," when the dad says like, "You put it in the vagina," right? And he's like, "Oh, that can't fit in there," and like you laugh because you're like, he doesn't know, and then it's sad because you're like, oh, like he's innocent, and you're like kind of exposing him to this for a really shady purpose.
Dude, that's the thing, and I would express that point even harder as we get into it now. I mentioned in the video I made, but it's like not they do this all the time. It's like they've gone so far with this premise because their whole channel, this is the premise. Well, maybe there's like a small percent. I know they do other videos. There's like all adult videos, but I would say more than half of their videos, and I definitely would say most of their popularity is based off of exploiting kids, right? Yeah. Like it's not. And it's not, they're not as famous for their other videos. I've perused the website a lot because they have a lot of crap, but they have other videos with adults, like but their main ones that get famous, and the ones I see shared on Facebook and YouTube and stuff, it's the kids reacting to stuff, right? It's basically like Fine Brothers kids react, but they do their different thing, and usually it's food. And they do the food so much now they got to do this crap that we're seeing. I mean, this is the furthest. This is where I think they've just run out of ideas. They've done so many of these videos. They're like, okay, what are we gonna do now? Let's get some fucking lube out and show our kids how to jerk. It's like, how fucking far have you gone, dude? I mean, there was like a lot in between this too. Like I didn't get into, because the website has a lot of videos and you can't comment on everything, but there's okay, here's a funny one that actually got mentioned today in a comment, I think, on a video. They said someone was commenting on my video, and they're like, "What's next? Are they going to show these kids Santa Claus and tell them he's not real? Like, how are you going to teach them about jerking off and they still believe in Santa?" And I didn't get to reply to that comment, but guys, they already did that video. They already did a video where they showed them that Santa Claus wasn't real, and they show these kids, like the same age kind of kids we saw before, and they're telling them Santa isn't real, and they're fucking watching them cry and shit. It's just so fucked.
What is the point of that?
Yeah.
It's just, they just keep going. It's like they need more ideas. Like their whole premise is getting these reactions from kids, and I think the problem with them is, they didn't stick to the food. They could have done food for years and just done different food or whatever, but they kind of kept going further, and now we're at showing them jerking off.
You know what I think it is? I think what it is they're like when you produce like empty, like simple content, like, look, cute kids eating food is really empty and like simple, right? Like anybody who can do it as long as they have like money to pay parents to drag their kids in there. When you do that for so long, like you're making money and people shit on you for not producing anything of like meaning. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna change the world. And it's not like all social justice stuff ends up getting worked into shit where it doesn't belong. And it's like, I'm gonna teach kids about masturbating because sex ed is important. Like you did that video about the Black Lives Matter one where it's like the dad is telling his daughter, he's like, the police will kill you.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna fucking shoot you and you'll die. And she's like crying, and it's like, this is about race relations now. It's like, no, your product is BuzzFeed with children. It's empty, it's fucking vapid, it's garbage.
Well, yeah,
that's what it is.
Totally. Yeah, you're hitting it on the head. And yeah, Michael, I heard you ask. That was a Watch Cut video as well. That was like the first time I reviewed Watch Cut was when they did that it wasn't Black Lives Matter specifically, maybe influenced by it, but yeah, it was like a black dad and a black girl, and he makes her cry.
Right,
and
I remember.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying the funny thing is that shit is so fucked up too, and it's just like with the masturbation thing. It's like they're trying to shock these kids. They're trying to make them cry, and I don't see how they think that's cool. I mean, I guess it's legal, but wow, it's just super messed up. And then one thing I just thought of from what you were saying, Sean, was how like this is all based on them being kids. Like this would not work or if they were adults or people our age, or I mean even like older people. Like I know they do Elders React on Fine Brothers, but like their channel, I mean they're hinged on it being children.
Yeah.
I knew I'd heard of them before through you guys, through No Bullshit. I know you had mentioned them before. I wasn't sure if that was a video. That was what came to mind, and that was the one I remember now perfectly.
And that's the thing, and that's why a lot of people to actually make to further make another point I brought up is like it's obvious that this channel is liberal bias based. It's obvious they go with the Black Lives Matter and the anti-Trump, pro-Hillary kind of stuff. It's not as blatant in some of the videos. Like I said, the masturbation video, I call them stupid liberals because I knew they were like liberals before. I don't know if it necessarily is related to, or I think it is related, to be honest, but I'm saying, I know they don't talk about like Democrats or Republicans in that, but you could see it's coming from the same group. It's like, there's this degeneracy and this push, like the same group that's pushing, it starts off with pushing the gay rights, and then it's trans, and then now it's kids, and then now it's what animals, and I don't know. It's just a fucking horrible rabbit hole. I don't want to look down.
Yeah, and it's like it definitely is connected to like the left and like that ideology, because it's like everything has to be anti what like Western values are. So like Western values, sometimes they're puritanical. In my opinion, a little too puritanical in certain spaces. But like they have to completely like invert that, and then it's like, now we're sexualizing children, and it's not only okay, we're gonna put it on like a children's program basically, because their demographics are like 90-year-old grandparents that are sending, like they just learned how to use a computer, sending it to their grandkids, and those grandkids, like there's no like 25-year-old that's like, this is awesome, I can't wait to see this. It's like, it's garbage. It's basically like BuzzFeed with children and less periods.
Basically.
Yeah, it is very similar. It's very garbage content. I think that's all the kind of updates or commentary I could think about Watch Cut. It's still horrible. I guess maybe there is one thing, because I noticed they're still coming out with videos. Not that I expected them to shut down or anything, but they haven't learned anything at all. I mean, again, the comment that they pinned was the first sign, and then leaving the video up. I actually think I had the comment here. The comment they pinned is an anonymous, no picture from Mara Elizabeth. Says, "I'm shocked by the negativity in the comments. I felt such shame and confusion as a child when it came to masturbation. The fact that these kids are able to openly talk about it with their parents is great. There should not be a stigma around masturbation. Every child will try it. It's better that they have some education about it." Pretty much like what I guessed. Like we were saying, they're not showing any remorse. They're holding their ground. I guess it's almost doubling down.
Yeah, and like they pinned that one comment, and it's like, yeah, that was a kid that maybe like they had shitty parents. Like I said, there's an in between, like teaching your daughter how to jerk off a dude, because that's not masturbation. Like that's teaching your daughter how to give a hand job. She doesn't have a child. Like, let's be honest. And like teaching your son how to finger a girl. Like they're 8. Like you can do sex education. It's like those kids were so willing to be open. I'm like, most of those kids didn't want to be there. Like,
and then here's some other videos that they've come out with this week, and I think this kind of is interesting, plays off of some of the stuff we're talking about. Right before the masturbation video, they had a best of strange buds video about 5 days ago, and that's another series they do. This is an adult series, and they smoke weed, and it's just kind of a funny thing. I never really liked it or watched it, but I don't see like any real issues. But I will say it plays into, like we're saying, of the degenerate behavior. I mean, I don't have anything against smoking weed. I'll be honest with that. I mean, I think I've said that before. Smoking weed's fine, but you could see how it's part of their theme. It's part of their like liberal theme. Like, we're smoking weed, we're jerking off, we're doing this, we're doing that. And the other videos they have, these are the ones that came out after the masturbation video. So the next video they came out with was couples read messages from their exes. And this was super cringy too. I actually watched this one because there are a few funny comments about it. And there's like one couple in there, like they have their phones out and they're reading old messages from their ex partners in front of their new partners, which is just a weird setup to begin with, because I don't see why you would keep all those messages. I don't know what kind of couples they found that had old messages. It must be new couples. White YouTuber in the house. Shout out to White YouTuber. What's up, buddy? But yeah, so they read these messages in front of each other, and most of it's just playful and dumb. But there is like one couple in the middle there. I think it's a lesbian couple actually, and they're both like catch each other flirting with someone else, and they lied about it, and it gets like super uncomfortable. And and that's just yeah, it's bad. I think that's just bad in its own way. It's just kind of dumb. I don't think anything's gonna beat the whole masturbation video. But I will note the last one they came out with that I think is almost related. It also shows they're not learning any kind of lessons, because the last video they came out with this video yesterday. It's called "Strangers Play Fear Pong." And they've done a video like this before, so I've heard of it. Basically, it's strip beer pong. They call it fear pong, but it's strip beer pong. And I wish I could show you guys the thumbnail because I'm looking at it. It's just basically a girl in her underwear. And yeah, it's a girl in her underwear, and the guy is taking her clothes off, taking her pants off right now. And you see her in her bra. She's cute, whatever. I get it. I put cute girls in my thumbnails all the time. There's nothing wrong with that, but it just shows like if you got caught with this masturbation video and had a big controversy, like, are you really gonna do like a strip video 2 days later? Like, what the fuck? Are they learning anything?
I mean they have like a schedule. Like I don't know. You know what it is they teach the kids how to masturbate, and then they give them masturbation material.
Oh God, so it is super.
They keep coming back.
Yeah,
but there's one
weird.
thing you did bring up. There's one thing you did bring up, and that was when you spelled mass shootings like incorrectly on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we need to figure out a system to do that for like YouTubers. Like, because I've had like some videos get flagged for demonetization, then you appeal or whatever, and like, you know, sometimes it comes back, sometimes it doesn't. When I did one video about Islam, it got demonetized in like a fucking nanosecond after it was done processing, and then I appealed it, and like usually the appeal takes like 3 days. They're like, no, fuck you, it's over, and like no second appeals, no nothing. So like we need to figure out ways to like respell Islam. And
that's a whole thing too, to get into the YouTube titles, and it's very hypocritical that the kids masturbating thing is allowable for watch cut, but then you can't mention shootings or Islam or something. That's really weird. But real quick, let's try and see. God, are you there? Can you chime in? You hear us, buddy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, man. You made it.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, dude? We're just talking about a little watch cut video, some updates since that one happened. Did you see the watch cut Parents Explain video we're talking about?
Yes, I did, man. That was the cringiest shit I've ever watched in my life. I had to pause it, like, I had to pause it so many times. That shit cringed me the fuck out.
Oh my God, I know. And I'm glad you mentioned the cringe, because there was definitely times when I was just making my review video and I'm like, man, I gotta be careful, like, because this is like still cringy. I mean, I have to point it out, so it's almost it is necessary, but it's like, oh my God, it's like my video can't even make it because it's so uncomfortable, dude. But yeah, the last thing we were saying is the watch cut not really learned their lesson. They've got some more stripping videos, and they're just kind of business as usual. Actually, we got a Truth or Drink siblings outtakes is what came out today. That's their new video. So it's just very funny. It's like a drinking video, a smoking weed video, a someone stripping video, and then it's couples cheating on each other video, and then it's kids masturbating. I think we've got a theme here. I think we've
of degeneracy.
Debasing,
we're kind of
losing
forming
all morals.
Yeah, it's just and I think something I wanted to mention too. I think Sean was saying how, you know, the conservatives versus liberals kind of sides of this, and the liberals are just going all the way as far as they can. They're going to be having sex with fucking farm animals by the end of the year. But it's like it's not just
funny you mentioned that. In Canada, there was a court ruling that ruled it not bestiality because the person only performed oral sex on the animal. So therefore, it is essentially legal for you to give oral sex to animals in Canada.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Dude, shout out to Irate Bear. Thanks for the congratulations. I'm working on getting my silver play button. Shout out to the chat. I'm going to be reading your chats and super chats. Who was just about to go in? Sean, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't know why you brought up that Canada ruling. We already decided we're not going to talk about vegan games anymore.
Yeah, damn Canadians.
Canada's just a fucked up place in general.
Oh,
dude. No, what was the other thing though? There's like a new thing in Canada too. Like,
they passed the Zim Zala Bim Zim Zim Zam Bim.
That's it. The Zur Zudu.
They passed that shit.
Yeah, that's crazy. The thing I heard about. I don't know a lot about it, but that just happened. That's pretty messed up. Irate Bear wants to know if we'll do an unboxing of the play button. That sounds awesome. I could do a play button video. That'd be sweet. I never thought I'd get a play button, to be honest with you guys. I'm really thankful again for 100K. That's fucking amazing. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. We're not ending this now. I'm just saying my bit. I want to thank God for joining us. I'm glad he finally got on the mic, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, hell yeah. Michael's in the house still in the background. And then Actual Justice Warrior, a.k.a. Sean, is in here. I will remind you guys that we do have links in the bottom for the normal stuff, you know, Patreon video or Patreon support, and there's merch. We do have shirts. I don't mention the shirts too much, but we have some of that stuff going on. I do also have Actual Justice Warrior's link in the description, right there, almost at the top. Actual Justice Warriors, another YouTuber, does great videos, lots of critical thinking, reviews, cool, fun stuff. You've done some vegan videos. I think lately you did some on some Law and Order stuff. Really cool stuff. You guys should check that out if you like him. Anything else? We're talking about watch cut. Anything else you guys had about the watch cut degeneracy story thingy?
What about it, God? You got anything?
Nah, man. I don't have anything to say really when it comes to the sexualization of children. I don't think it's right in any respect.
Yeah, I mean, super wrong.
I mean, look, I'm gonna take it to like a slightly serious place for like a second, but like, if you like, I have like two backgrounds educationally. One is criminal justice. One is film, right? If you look into any of the stuff about like abuse of children or whatever, like the way that works is that the abuser introduces them to stuff, and that makes them more like susceptible to accepting it, right? So it's like it's
grooming. The grooming.
Yeah, it's grooming. It's really damaging to do to like a young child, and it's like you'll hear like parental stories about this, and like they'll catch their kid doing something and they'll think they're playing a game because they heard it from another adult, and like that's how they find out. And it's like you're making your child more vulnerable because it's not like they're 13, right? If they're like 13 or like pubescent or whatever and you talk to them privately, that's different. Like these are kids. You're making them more vulnerable to like potential abuse and Like,
it normalizes it, you know, it's trying to like get it in their heads early. And I don't want to imply it's going too far. I'm not going to say this channel we're talking about is pedos or anything like that, but it's definitely inappropriate, and it's super troubling to just see how casual they are about it, how they don't have any remorse, they don't see any problem with what they did at all, even though they've got millions on YouTube telling them otherwise.
Yeah, and it would be one thing if they were like, parents, talk to your kids about it. But like, you're showing, like, it's not only the kids in the video, it's like kids that are watching that are like, oh, like, that's how I, jerk a little ding dong. Like, that's like,
oh yeah, cringy.
I'm not a censorship guy or anything like that. Like, and I hate the idea of like, like censor something for adults because of little kids. Like, I fucking despise that idea. Mm-hmm. But like, the audience's target is kids. Mm-hmm. And like, there are kids in the video, and it's like,
yeah. And another thing, people mentioned in the comments that I thought was relevant is, these kids go to school, their friends are going to see them in these videos. This is just embarrassing on so many levels. Real quick though, I think we got a new person join in. Is that Christian? Christian, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I figured now is a good time to join in since you were talking about kids and perverts and my picture.
I know. I was gonna change the topic, so don't worry. We're gonna change anyway. I thought about that too. I'm like, oh, let's have Christian come in right now. Anyway, thanks for joining us, bud. Another loyal Patreon supporter. Love you for it. Love you, God and Michael and Sean, for joining us as well too. Let's go and pivot. If anyone else doesn't have anything on Watch Cut, I think there's something kind of related in the next update thing. We're kind of doing retrospect and retouching on some videos I did in the last few weeks, and Shia LaBeouf was the last video I made. We're not really going in order or anything, but yeah, Shia LaBeouf's story has been going around this week. I made a video 2 days ago. It was called Shia LaBeouf is Breaking Down. I'll admit, it seems like he's already broken down. I just kind of title my videos that way. I have this kind of like a new series, but yeah. So Shia LaBeouf's story, I covered most of it. There were a few other things that kind of happened after my video that we could get into, and there's a few things I've actually learned since then. But let's get some initial reactions. We could start with Christian, since you just joined us, bud. What do you think about the whole Shia LaBeouf getting arrested thing?
I thought it was hilarious. I still love Shia LaBeouf.
You still gonna watch his movies if he ever gets one?
If he ever gets one. Yeah. I like his private shit. I liked how he watched like a whole stream of every single movie he's ever made. Like, he live streamed himself watching all of his own movies. And
I heard about that. That's hilarious. And
that video he made about the runaway, and you added some of those clips in your video. But no, I think everything he's been doing on his own is just hilarious. I mean, he's a weird guy.
It's a lol cow. It's a total lol cow. Like, it's a total great source for all kinds of stuff. I mean, dude, I'll admit, I don't really hate him or anything. I think it's kind of funny and sad. I'm not gonna like boycott him. I'm not like big on boycotts. And in reality, now that you make me think of it, he hasn't really done anything like too worse. It's just like he got arrested and made an ass of himself. He totally embarrassed himself on that arrest. But the one thing that was cracking me up the most, I want to say this again. I put a few clips from He Will Not Divide Us in my video, but dude, He Will Not Divide Us is so hilarious, man. I've been like going over it this last week because it made me think of it, and I was watching all the like highlights from He Will Not Divide Us. Dude, that shit is so funny.
Honestly, my overall synopsis and hopes for Shia is that just in the spur of the moment, he comes out and like this entire everything that he's done is just like one big troll, and he comes out as like the Keck Master General.
Oh yeah, it was like a master plan.
That would be fucking phenomenal, because I've always really liked Shia LaBeouf as an actor, and it's kind of
I did too.
The fact that he's like fucking gone completely ape shit bonkers.
He was 100% legit. Like, I guess it's been like 10 years now from his best work, like Transformers and a lot of cool stuff back in the day. I even, like I said on my video, I liked Even Stevens when I was a kid. Like, I grew up on Shia LaBeouf. I grew up with him. I'm like 6 months younger than the guy or something like that. So it was kind of personal, or definitely sucks seeing someone that you've appreciated go down. It's different than You know, I've done the other breaking down videos I did was like first one was Katy Perry, and it's like who gives a shit. I liked a few of her songs. It's kind of a shame that she's not hot anymore. She was like very hot, and now she's not, and that's kind of like the worst loss there. Yeah, but the other one, I guess, the big one was Johnny Depp, and I was a fan of him before, but I think he's kind of ruined his reputation over so many years. But Shia, I mean, Shia is still like a fucking bro.
Yeah.
It's kind of harder to see him go down about that. Let's go next to what do you think, Michael?
Well, no, yeah, Shia, he definitely has good comedic timing. You know, what I mean, he before the third Transformers movie, when he seemed like he was phoning it in a little bit, like doing like parkour. Someone was reviewing, like his character was like a Superman at that point doing parkour. But in the first two like Transformers movies, he made he was like really really good, like on spot with his like, not jokes, but I mean, like I said, he has pretty good comedic timing. Like he has a real presence. But the video with the cop, you know, I mean, he just like totally was on like a Hollywood spoiled brat like rant, you know, basically like I know Reese Witherspoon did the same thing a couple years back. She like got arrested, did the same shit, you know. Criticized.
Yeah, cops. I think something I would have mentioned more if I redid it would be just, I mean, not to excuse him, but just, okay, Shia was wicked drunk, guys. Like when you get arrested, that's pretty standard kind of shit that happens when people get arrested. I mean, not everyone. Some people will stay quiet or whatever, or some people will cry. But what he did was not like that uncommon. I think just the worst part is that he got caught. You know, he got the video, and then he went too far too, because that's the next thing. And I'll get to Sean next on your thoughts. But the one next thing I would say first is, yeah, there was other things that he said I didn't even get to cover. I pretty much just covered the arrest and some of the stuff when he was in the car. But some of the most damning shit happened after, and there's like new videos that came out the next day where, you know, he said that thing about the black guy going to hell because he's black, and then I forget what else. I know he was like being real rude to like a woman cop, like calling her a bitch or something. But what the hell, man? I mean, he really spiraled that night. What do you think, Sean?
Like as far as Shia LaBeouf as an actor, like I don't mind him. He's in some movies that are like awful, Crystal Skull and all that, but like
definitely
even in those they're like script terrible, like not really like he ruined the movie terrible, you know what I mean? But like Shia LaBeouf, like the Museum of the Moving Image thing was like the greatest thing ever, because I love the Museum of the Moving Image, and when I heard about that I went down there, but they had already put the dividers up and all that, so I was like fuck. But like
you're in the city. That's true. It's like in He Will Not Divide Us. It was like outside on the street there somewhere.
Yeah, it's in Queens. It's it was like Astoria or wherever that museum's located. Google it, people. But the Shia LaBeouf, one of my favorite videos about him is made by the Naked Ape, which like I should have mentioned in YouTubers that I love, like because
he's good too. Yeah, like, he's good.
He made a great video about him, but like it's just like he has like we're seeing it with a lot of actors. There's just like this meltdown over, and it's like connected to Trump, but Shia's was kind of like starting beforehand, and his is more like he was a child actor and he got too famous too quickly, and all that stuff. And it's like what I said before. It's like, you know, when you're in like very empty movies, like Shia was in Crystal Skull, everybody hated it. The Transformers movies, like the first one is probably like a passable movie, but like they're very like empty in terms of like meaning or anything like that.
Oh, totally.
So when you're like doing empty work, just like the watch cut people, like you tend to go like you tend to try and get more meaning. So like all the stunts and all of that are like kind of in line with that. And like it's like who did he open who He Will Not Divide Us with? He opened it with Jaden Smith, who's far worse than him, by the way. But it's like another person who's like, they're like empty, but like they're trying to be political and edgy. So like Shia LaBeouf is having a meltdown. I kind of feel bad for him just because, you know, like it's a child actor thing. To the cop, he's like, you're black and you arrest black men. There's a special place in hell for you, for people like you. It's like, And it's funny because it's like you know, there's always that thing that SJWs project, right? And it's like, you know how they say
feminists and SJWs always project.
Yeah, they're like all women, all men are race, all white men are racist, or all whites are racist, and like you have that in the back of your mind, and it's like, no, you have that in the back of your mind because when you're drinking and you get arrested for doing something dumb, you immediately go racial. Like there was no reason to do that. He's like, yeah. He's like, I'm in favor of the black people. He's like, you work for a president who doesn't care about you. It's like,
dude, I thought about that too. Yeah.
It's like, and then like I was going to say, don't work for the president, by the way, just saying.
Yeah, but no, there is a lot to say about that race part of it, because I think what it is, and it's what I've noticed. I've seen other liberals kind of break down this way too in different situations. But real quick, first shout out to Hunter Avalone. Thanks for joining the chat. Thanks for congratulating us on 100K. This is a 100K subscriber special. But back to Shia. Yeah. So the thing is, I think it's like these identity politics in their heads that they have set up, and they can normally kind of like explain it and it sounds legit, but whenever you get into a spiral out situation or the person gets too drunk, like in this situation, it's like you can kind of see their true colors. Like you can kind of see how they really think about the races, and that's what I think what's going on with Shia. It's like excuse me, he tries to look like he's protecting the blacks or something like they normally do on the liberal side. But then when he gets down to it and he doesn't have his filter on because he's all fucked up, he's like, now he's just saying, oh, black people are going to hell. And you're like, he basically acts like they're beneath him.
Right.
Like that's the thing. It's like everybody to a certain extent, like I think projects a lot. That's why if you ever have the chance to date a feminist, do it, because like all of that like external man hating or whatever, like a lot of them just wanna let you take control. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, like, it's just they're always fighting against something they don't like about themselves. So like, yeah, and like, you know, a lot of what he's doing is like he doesn't like it about himself. Like he got embarrassed over the plagiarism and all that stuff. And it's like this, but again, it's like there's this weird meltdown with like Hollywood and like the left. And it's like, you know how like how it took a long time for people to hate George W. Bush, and like especially even on the left, it took a long time for them to hate George W. Bush like as intensely as they did by the end. And like after like maybe like a couple of like months, maybe a year, like the right hated Obama. Like they gave him like a decent, I'm talking like general public gave him like a decent chance. Then they like hated him after a year. Now it like Trump, it's like it was like they hated him for even before he got sworn in. Like they were already like
they started off with like George Bush level hate, like from before inauguration.
He won, and then they were like, this is how you would impeach Trump, like the whole lead up to when he was being sworn in.
Well, Trump represents everything that the liberals hate. He's like a total alpha, you know what I'm saying? Like he's a confident white male, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the alpha, and then the not being PC is what kills them.
Yeah,
they can't stand someone who doesn't like play by the rules, you know, like he doesn't do the PC identity politics thing, and that's what it's like when you burn the vegans by not playing their rules. It's like they can't take it.
No,
it's also like Trump punches the left every like. If you attack Trump, no matter what, and like even if it's to his own detriment, he's gonna punch you right back in the face. So like he fights the left, and like that's what people really love about him, because Trump's not that conservative. Like he definitely will like fight. Like he's a fighter, and that's like a great thing in politics. But like, you know, he'll complain about little things that go up against him. Like he's a little sensitive too, but like. It's the fact that he always fights, and it's like, I don't know if you saw that video where he picked up the Marine's hat.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
That's another reason why people love Trump.
That shows
like
humility.
Classy. Yeah, that's classy. That's just no way. Yeah, that's like beneath Obamas or Clintons. I mean, they think they're fucking kings and queens over here.
Well, I mean, you remember the big controversy about Obama not saluting the Marine. Standing in front of his chopper, it was a whole big deal. Like,
he saluted. Yeah. Like I don't like a lot of those like little controversies because they're very like, you know, like optics based. But like, remember when he saluted the Marine when he was holding like the venti coffee in his hand, or he had the other Marine like do his umbrella, like for like, even though like I don't like that kind of like pettiness in my politics, like I'm not a symbol person. Like I understand like when I'm watching a movie, like film language and symbols, and it's like it's a stark image. This dude saluting with a cup of coffee or having Marine hold his umbrella. And
it also adds up, you know. It's like when you see little things happening over and over, like you're talking about the Obama ones that look bad, and then there's plenty of little things that Trump have done that has looked good, as far as, you know, soldiers picking up the hat, being respectful to police officers, holding up the gay pride flag at his rally, like stuff like that starts to add up, and the images and stuff that they're not going away. I know his opponents will try and ignore it, but that's why people think and respect him, is because he's respectable.
Yeah, if I can jump. Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say basically real quick. Sorry, Sean. Yeah, no, like they were saying on Fox that basically, like, you know, Obama was like Joe Cool and shit, you know, like he was always concerned with how he was looking and he wanted to seem so hip and stuff, and like all of his policies were like a fallacy. Well, they were saying on Fox, I don't remember who said it, but I mean, so I can't really cite them, but basically they were saying that Trump is the opposite way. Like Trump's policies are legit and he's like kind of like a train wreck when he's like dealing with the public and the media and stuff, but you know, the country, I mean, the country is going to pan out, you know what I'm saying? As long as he keeps doing what he's doing, you know?
Yeah, and they say he's a train wreck too, and I just, a lot of times I'm just not buying it. Like a lot of the CNN stories and whatnot, they try to say he did this, it was embarrassing. Like, how could he tweet this, blah, blah, blah. And usually it's just feigned outrage. I'm not really seeing any kind of issue with, like, I don't know, tweeting about this, or, you know, the famous one a few weeks ago, retweeting him wrestling and stuff. Like that's supposed to be Trump's big blunder. Oh my God, how dare he, you know, retweet a GIF. But that also plays into the other thing. I think Sean was saying this earlier, where they expect Trump not to punch back. You know, they expect him just to lay down and take it, and then when he punches back, they call him out for it, and it's like they forget that they started it. He doesn't ever punch back on anyone like randomly.
He doesn't attack them. Yeah,
he doesn't come out and speak out people. You know, unless I didn't hear about it, but usually it's like he punches back at CNN, who, you know, did this Russia thing on him and tried to frame him up for like 6 months with no evidence, and then he punches back, and then CNN cries like little babies. Same thing with MSNBC and that morning show. I think it's with Scarborough and some chick.
Morning Joe.
Yeah, and he's like, they've been railing Trump for months. They like call him like very disrespectful names. They never say President Trump. They never have any kind of, like, you know, they say a lot of bullshit. They lie, and then he punches back, and then they act like they're victims, and they're like, how dare the president do this? And that's the one thing I hate too, is I hate that excuse, like, oh, the president shouldn't be doing this. Oh, the president, like, this isn't presidential. It's like, fuck that. It's 2017. It's current year. He said something on Twitter. He tweeted a picture. Yeah. I mean, the president, even if he is supposed to be regal and professional, like, he's still a human being. He can, like, be up late at night and go on his cell phone and tweet something funny. I don't give a shit if my president does that.
Yeah. I think it's,
I mean, I would actually prefer a president who's human.
Exactly. It's like they act like it's the same kind of thing they would say. Like, I'm sure the CNN. Well, okay, here's one they'd actually do. The stuff about the golfing. It's like they always want to bring up the golfing and be like, oh, he's lazy, he's golfing, he's taking these days off for golfing, and that's kind of like their big thing they try to hold against him. And that just goes back to the same kind of thing. Like, he's a human being. I don't expect him to be president like every hour of the week. He can take hours off. He can sleep. He can play golf. Like, I would say that about any president. I wouldn't. It's not just because of Trump. Like, I remember people knocked on Obama's golfing too, who actually did do a lot more golfing than Trump. But that's a whole other thing. But the thing I would say is, it's like, okay, he's a human being. He's allowed to watch a movie. He can go out and do something. And I think included in that is, you know, what Trump likes to do. This is his thing. He likes to go on Twitter and fuck around. I mean, obviously.
And I think the difference that you're not distinguishing between Obama's golfing and Trump's golfing, to be fair, is that if you talk about Obama's golfing, you're obviously a racist.
Oh yeah, you're racist. You can't say anything bad about black people in this day and age.
Well, see, plus, I was gonna say, look who Trump plays golf with. You know what I'm saying? Like world leaders and stuff. I mean, Obama was out there with what, like, who's like his famous like Hollywood golfing buddy,
Jay-Z or some shit.
Yeah,
he's like golfing with fucking like rappers and whatever.
Yeah,
he would golf with them and like finance people like that paid for his campaign.
Exactly.
Like, the thing is, and I don't want to say too much on Trump, but like the thing is that the media cannot, like, the media like has a hobby of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, right? Like the CNN thing, it was funny. Like I was laughing. Like I'm like, dude, the president tweeted that out. That's amazing. But like, it's pretty like childish. If CNN would have came on and been like, the president tweeted this, like, what an idiot. Like he's childish, and left it there, it would have been fine. But like I did a video on this and I showed like the clips and they're like, it's an act of violence and he's going to get somebody killed. He's going to get somebody murdered. And
yeah,
it's like,
that's even worse. Like, that's so lame.
It's like 2 weeks after, and then they, track down the guy, like threatened to dox him and all that. But then it's like, it's also like 3 weeks after a Bernie Sanders supporter. And by the way, I don't believe like we should curtail our political speech to prevent some crazy person from doing violence. But a Bernie Sanders supporter who thought that Trump was a traitor to the United States and the Republicans were aiding and abetting him in selling the country to Russia, fucking went to a congressional baseball practice to assassinate Republicans. And they're like, oh, well, if you link that and our constant coverage of Russia, Trump, then you're a crazy person. But like this meme is going to cause violence. Like it's crazy talk.
It's
like
super hypocritical. It's super. I mean, they just have no self-reflection. And this is another thing that happens in the same way with cops and the anti-cop narrative. And then that's more. It might be different groups. There's more Black Lives Matter talking about cops, but there's also stuff in liberal media like CNN, and they're painting. They're painting these people like Philando Castile as an innocent person who got shot for nothing. And there's 100 other stories they try to bring up. And then people go out, and that's what makes them want to be violent to cops, because they think the cops are racist, shooting black people for no reason. It's just very similar to what, like you were saying about the CNN stuff with the news. And then they have the balls to say, oh, Trump tweeted a GIF, and that's going to incite violence against reporters. I mean, come on, you're inciting violence, if anyone.
Yeah, if you were going to go by that standard, they're definitely guilty of it. And also, Morning Joe and Mika Brzezinski, like they're like, oh, I'm leaving the Republican Party over this. I can't believe the man Trump's become. Like 2 months ago, when they announced that they were getting married, Trump was like, oh, have the ceremony at Mar-a-Lago. Like he's like, I'll do it. I'll marry you guys, because like they're big. They're in New York media. Trump's in New York media. They both worked for an affiliate of NBC, Trump NBC, them MSNBC. Like they were sucking. Like when Trump was a private citizen, like Morning Joe could not get his dick out of his mouth, right? Like the only reason this was happening is because Trump's getting married. So like them pretending that he's like a different person, like Trump's the same person. Like let's be honest.
They just turned it because of the presidency. I mean, let's be real. You're from New York. You can maybe confirm this. I mean, New Yorkers love Trump. It doesn't matter what party you're in. Like Trump is like pretty popular. I know he has his detractors too, but it's like it wasn't even like a political thing. It wasn't like Republicans or Democrats, like you're saying. Like people just like Trump, especially business people, especially people on TV and NBC in the news. And now it's like all of a sudden he's the enemy because I guess probably either they're too blindly political or they're getting word from their CEOs that are run by liberals.
Yeah, like the people there are people who definitely hate Trump now, but like I think New Yorkers get Trump because he's very New York, right? Like even when he's like, I don't want to be at the White House, I want to go down to Florida. Like that's what New Yorkers do when they get old. They want to go down to Florida for the weekend or for vacation.
Yeah,
I think
nothing's more New Yorker than going to Miami for the weekend.
Yeah, so I think New Yorkers get Trump, but I don't know. Like there's like so much like propaganda around it. I remember like I've actually gotten blocked from like people that I've known like super closely. Like just for saying like, oh, well, his ban isn't really like a Muslim ban. It bans people from these seven countries. Like people have blocked me and sent me like horrible messages about how I'm now an Islamophobe or whatever. And I'm not even like a Trump supporter. I was just like, it's technically not a Muslim ban.
Yeah,
and then,
it's super touchy. It's super touchy for some people can't handle any kind of discussion on it.
But the thing is like the real, like, do you meet like real people who hate Donald Trump that are crazy? Like, do you meet them in real life?
Yeah. Sometimes. I mean, like usually it's like a comment on Facebook or something. I don't talk like super political in person, but
they're really petty and they're really ignorant.
Yeah.
Usually that's the stereotype.
I find a lot of it too.
I had a
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this is a legitimate conversation that I had with somebody, right? Feminist, by the way. Like I met her, she's nice, we talked, we hung out. Trump won the election, and she was trying to convince me that since Trump won the election, that this was happening frequently in America. Men were walking up to women, grabbing them, and saying, "Now this is legal," and getting away with it. Like that was like you're laughing, but I'm not like joking. Like
I believe you. I believe you. It's just insane.
She's like, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reports of these happening all over of people doing this, and it's like they know it's not legal. I'm like, he won a week ago. He's not going to be inaugurated for months, even if he was going to overturn sexual assault, not a federal law, by the way. That doesn't make any sense. And she's like, you're gaslighting me. You're gaslighting me, saying that my recollection isn't correct. I'm like, your retardation is hurting me. Like,
yeah, that sounds like one of those moves. I think this is a common thread too. Is they like to use those big words and things like high school. I call them high school debate words when I was like dealing with a lot of vegans that like to do it. They'll like say, "Where's your argument? Like, where's the evidence?" And that's a logical fallacy, and you're gaslighting and blah blah blah. And yeah, I get that those words are fine, and a lot of people will call me, I don't know, stupid or something because I make fun of people that talk like that. But I don't. It's not like that at all. I mean, I've heard people use those words properly. I've seen good videos where they can use it casually and not sound like what they sound like is like someone in high school who's studying for an SAT test. It's not like they really know the words. They're just using big ones to sound smart. And I think that's a big theme with a lot of people on the left. It's like they want to sound smart and they want to be smarter, and then they want to also kind of be like more moral and ethical. And we all know, I think it's like they're usually the opposite of both of those points.
Did you see, by any chance, Count Dankula's response to veganism?
No, I didn't yet. Was it good?
Here was his response. Like because he's getting the emails or whatever. I didn't know vegans were sending out emails to everybody, right? But like he said that he does a video and he's like, I've never talked about veganism before. He's like, this seems like a ploy for attention. So then he's like, and here's my opinion of veganism. And he's like, gay? And they zoom in on him. And then he eats a burger and then feeds a burger to his dog, right? So it's like obviously a joke, right? And he does it in like slow motion, I think, for the dog, right? Obviously a joke. Fucking ask yourself, did a legitimate response to that video? Like he's like, gay is not an argument. And he's like, this is psychosis right here. And it's like, and like I was talking to Mike Barbosa, because I'll give him credit for this, because after like my vegan like debate, like I don't like follow his videos or whatever. He told me about this, and I'm like, there's no way that's true. And I watched the video. He legitimately responds to gay as like an argument.
It's so sad. It's so sad. And Ask Yourself is a perfect example of both of those points I was getting at. The one trying to sound smart, and then two trying to sound or be like more ethical. And basically both of the points come down to is they try to, I don't know, elitist. They're like trying to be better than people,
Yeah. And by the way, Mike Barbosa is debating Vegan Gains this Saturday, and I was on his stream, so he'd probably want me to plug that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, check that out. Well, those are always fun. They pretty much always go the same way with Richard, but sometimes they get interesting. I actually know there was a few that happened since mine, but I don't want to get into the vegan stuff too much again. Yeah. But thank you to the live chat. I'm checking you guys out. We got 265 people watching. That's amazing. That's awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Today we're celebrating 100K subscribers. fucking insane. I'm so stoked. I know it sounds fake, but I'm just like kind of like a mellow person, so I have to be like, oh yay! No, I love it. It's fucking awesome, and it makes making videos like so much more fun when I know you guys are watching and liking and commenting. And I do read the comments. I read a lot of comments. I probably don't read all of them nowadays, but I try to read through them and respond when I can. Thank you guys so much. Let's also thank. We're not leaving. We'll probably wrap this up in a little bit. We're at 2 hours though, so we'll get through maybe like 1 or 2 more topics if you guys still have time on the microphones.
Let's do the apes thing.
Yeah, okay, that's the next topic for sure. We're going to get to apes. I'm just going to shout out a few more people and thank Christian, God, Michael, and Sean for joining me on the microphone. Looks like we got some people in the chat. America Fuck Yeah says congrats. Thanks a lot. Marwa Hassan, what's up? Excella Gian says 108K. Yeah, we have 108 now. That's crazy. How far we've come, people. It's been a little over a year and a half. And a lot has happened, a lot has changed, and it's all good. It's been a lot of fun. We already got 200 people watching. I love that. I love seeing the live people enjoying the show. We got our Patreons and Actual Justice Warrior YouTuber joining us. Let's check out. We got 460 likes. Don't forget to hit that like button if you are watching the show, guys. That helps. These live streams tend to get a few less likes than most, so if you guys can hit it now, that'd be awesome. I'm reading your comments. I'm reading your super chat too. If you guys feel the inclination to donate, there's a super chat button. No need though. Our content will always be free here on YouTube. I know I put a few ads here and there, but I'm just trying to, scrape by. But let's go to Planet of the Apes. I saw Planet of the Apes actually last night. War of the Planet of the Apes, to be specific. Real quick, first, it was good. Yeah, it was a good movie. I actually did a review. I'll try to maybe link you guys. My buddy has a podcast, and we kind of talked about it, but I don't have the link yet. But anyway, yeah, we did a little review, and we watched the movie. It's a good movie. I mean, especially if you like Planet of the Apes movies, you're going to love it. For starters, in general, it's a good action movie. It's very very war. I mean, it's called War. War, what is it good for? But yeah, it holds up that title. There's a good fights, good action. Great CGI. All the Planet of the Apes have always had like top level CGI, or the last ones, the last 3 that they've done have had really good CGI, and I'm just still impressed. I was in the theater, and you look at the apes' faces and the expressions, and Andy Serkis is so like intense and subtle when he does the main Caesar, the ape, and you just like see a little twitch on his face. It's just a great movie. I said it was like a 7 out of 10. I'm not going to say it's like the best movie of all time, but it's definitely like worth seeing if you're interested in that kind of thing. But let's bounce it out to the other guys. Have you guys seen the new movie? Have you seen any of the other Planet of the Apes movies? Because this is the 3rd one. Let's jump over to Christian. What do you think about Planet of the Apes?
I actually have not watched any of them.
None at all?
I haven't seen any of them. I saw the first half of the first one, and I really wanted to watch them. But as time goes on, there's like 10,000 movies that are on my eventually list. Yeah, it's good. It's good. The first one's the James Franco one, which is funny. This whole saga, the whole new trilogy started off with James Franco stuff. What about the other guys? Did anybody else see any Planet of the Apes movies? Maybe not the new one, maybe another one.
I've seen the first. I've seen a lot of them, but like the recent ones, I've seen both of them, and not this. Okay, one.
Cool. And you like the new style, the new movies?
Yeah, I'm like one of the biggest haters of reboots in like everything getting rebooted and rebranded. Planet of the Apes is one of the exemptions to that. Like the first movie with James Franco's good. I love the second one with Gary Oldman, and I'm like, I'll probably end up seeing this one this weekend. Yeah, but these are good. Great. Like,
that's a great. Yeah, I'm glad to hear from someone who's seen the first 2, because it's a good recommendation. Like, if you've seen the first 2 and you like them at all, third one is a good payoff. And now that you mention, it's also a good escalation. I was talking about this with my buddy yesterday when we saw it. It's like it's a good escalation because they start off with Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and it's mostly like a scientific, nerdy kind of movie, and they talk about like changing the apes in their brains and science and tests and stuff like that. A little bit of action at the end, but mostly just kind of chill. And then the second one raises it up, and there is a battle, I think, at the end. I don't recall that one movie all the way, but yeah, kind of like builds on. And then you see everything kind of go down in the third movie. I'm not going to do any spoilers today. We don't need to really talk about what we're talking about. But what about the other guys, God or Michael? Have you guys seen any Apes movies?
Yeah, I saw the other two. I liked them, and I'm not a James Franco fan, you know, but I thought the first one was good, you know. Yeah, and Caesar is a fantastic character, you know, because you know, he kind of loves humans, but he knows that there's good in them, but he knows that they're like can be corrupted real easily and stuff. Like there's really an interesting dynamic there. It makes for a great character. So I'm interested. Yeah, I'm interested to see the third one and see how that plays out yet. So
yeah, it looks good. It looks good. God, have you any thoughts on Apes movies?
Yeah, I enjoyed the first two as well. I mean, nothing really new to add.
Cool.
I'll be seeing the third shortly, probably this weekend.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think the main reason to bring this movie up now, just get your thoughts, and I told you guys I would recommend it if you like those kind of blockbuster kind of movies. The other thing is there was like a slight controversy. I didn't really get to cover it in a video. I wasn't that big of a deal, but there was like a lot of funny things going around as this movie was getting hyped up this week. And the main idea was that, oh, Planet of the Apes is racist in some way. Like Planet of the Apes is the apes are black people, I think is the idea. And there was like this one guy, DeRay, I think on Twitter, his name's DeRay, and he has a picture of him in a blue jacket, and he looks similar to a character, an ape in the movie with a blue jacket. And that was kind of what was going on. It was pretty ridiculous. I think it's worth mentioning, but I'll toss it back to you guys. Did anybody hear about this racist stuff? Did you guys read about it anywhere on Twitter or something?
I never watched The View. You know, I think it's a pile of garbage, but I just happened to catch like the end of them talking about this segment. I didn't really get too many details, but yeah, like I just happened to catch that. And Whoopi Goldberg was like bashing the dude. So, but I mean, that doesn't.
Yeah,
really
I think Whoopi Goldberg like defended the movie, right? Like I heard she was actually spot on.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something, Sean?
I'm letting. Does Christian want to chime in or God? And then
did you guys hear about the controversy or the racism? Do you think the movie's racist?
I had heard nothing about it, but doesn't every stupid outlet say shit about something being racist when it has monkeys in it because of some symbolism toward black people? I think it's bullshit. Like the King Kong or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's exactly what happened. Like whatever, 3 months ago or something. It was King Kong's racist.
Yeah, I think it only becomes racist when they themselves point it out as being racist. It's the racism only exists in their own minds, and I think that's why they're so willing to believe that there's so much racism out there.
Yeah, I think this comes down to it seems like the only people comparing them to apes are like black people themselves, or maybe like stupid liberals who are trying to whatever save the blacks. It's never like racist people saying, oh, black people are apes. Like no one thinks that's never a thing. I mean, maybe a fucking 100 years ago.
Right. Well, the thing is like it's not, and the reason like this one's different from the other controversies that we get into about movies is because this guy is like the guy who went off about this was like a big Black Lives Matter advocate. Like he would go on TV and talk about these issues, and like he said that one of the apes was him because he had a blue vest. And I'm like, wait a minute, do you always wear a blue vest? And of course, by the way, it turned out that the blue vest was a callback to the 60s costume.
Yeah,
which is
I saw that picture. It's like from one of the original movies.
Oh.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with him. And like he ended up deleting all these tweets, by the way, because he was so embarrassed. But like this guy was he is a significant person in the Black Lives Matter movement. Like the only time I've seen him before was when you No Bullshit did a video on him on like a Comedy Central show because he was like Mike Brown and all those regressive like BLM talking points.
Oh,
like,
that was him. I didn't know it was the same guy.
Yeah, he was wearing the same blue vest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I didn't know who DeRay was. Until this thing popped up. I'm like, who the?
Me neither, but like I forgot who covered it, but I saw it and he was like, "Oh, I wear the blue vest." I'm like, "Wait a minute, does this like retard wear a blue vest everywhere?" Apparently he does. That's his thing. like psychos and cartoon characters wear the same clothes all the time, by the way. But like, but yeah, so he's like, but like he is an advocate for black people, comparing himself to an ape, therefore comparing black, and then he compares all black people to apes. And this happened with Kong Skull Island. Yeah, it's like this happened with Kong Skull Island, and there was this YouTuber, and I feel bad because I don't know his name, but I don't know how I caught this video, and he was talking about how like it's a problem for black people that they see themselves as the apes instead of on the side of the people.
Yeah, like that's exactly what it is. That's exactly. It's like a. Yeah. I heard there's a good video by AIU that covers a lot of this. It's like a lot to do with the inferiority complex. You know, it's like they're seeing themselves in these places. They're projecting themselves into horrible characters, or not horrible, just whatever, second rate characters, you know, like second level. They think they're below human, and it's like in their own minds most of the time. It's like you are identifying with the apes. Like no one's calling black people apes or saying Planet of the Apes represents blacks versus whites. Like no one thinks that. I think the real setup, and this is the way it always has been in Planet of the Apes, it's not blacks versus whites, it's humans versus animals, and apes are just repping the animals. And I think they get hung up on it because, you know, some of the apes are blacks, most apes are black skinned or whatever, but if you really look into it, there's like other apes, and it's not like a black thing. I think it's more just, it's like an inferiority thing. It's like we think we're second grade and we can't handle or can't get the confidence or something like that. I mean, I don't want to hold it against them too hard because it is kind of like a deep kind of mental thing, but if they could at least start off by acknowledging it. It's like no one's saying that but you, dude.
But like what I'm saying, it's like in these new movies, you do connect with the apes because a lot of times they're more interesting than the human characters, and you actually follow the apes through the movies. But like it's also like, you remember, like these are racial activists that are getting mad about it, like that are getting obsessed about it, and it's like they think the world is so racist that whenever you make a movie about animals versus humans, in this case apes, it has to be about black people. So it's like it's like inferiority if you're like, oh, they're making fun of me for being an animal, but it's also like, you know, like they're projecting so much evil into the heart of like these filmmakers. And it's funny because, you know, like everything that they do is like racist. You know what I mean? Like,
it reminds me of the other. You see this all over Twitter. Twitter is like the worst for like black people calling everything racist. Because I think of there's a lot of this is kind of like similar to Tariq Nasheed, where his tweets are just constantly like calling everything white supremacy. This is racist because of this. And then you got Sean White, who says every cop is racist, and then he'll look up not Sean White, Sean King.
Freudian slip.
Sean White is a Freudian slip, and he's also a snowboarder. But that's besides the point. No, like Sean King, Tariq Nasheed, and apparently this DeRay guy on Twitter. It's like they'll look at everything and they can find a way to make it racist. It's like you can't trust that kind of person. I mean, they're going to look at you could go to the grocery store and buy a dozen eggs, and somehow they're going to make that racist. They're going to say the eggs represent white people, and why aren't there black eggs? White supremacy.
Oh,
right. Yeah, like my friend. My friend makes a joke because I ran into a friend at the grocery store, and he buys the brown organic eggs because he's dumb, and you know, they cost more. It's like they're the same fucking eggs, dude. But he's like, they cost more. He was just joking around. He's like, they cost more because they're brown and Trump's president. Like every joke, I'm afraid it's like, oh, that's going to be a controversy in the future, and I guarantee you somebody will point that out. That's a Black Lives Matter activist in the future and make a stink about it.
Mm-hmm. I think there is worthy points though too, and I actually just saw a comment. I think it's Salinas says Planet of the Apes was about racism, and I think I can at least admit it's not hard. There is like racial components, like there are things like parallels. Like any movie will have like parallels and try to represent things, but I think the worst. Before we move on to some of those, because I think there are ones in the movie. I don't want to spoil too much if you guys want to see it, but I'll try to be as vague as possible. But basically, yeah, these people are just going to find racism in everything, and it just ruins it because when movies do actually try to address the issues in a thoughtful, interesting way, then it's just like people just want to say, oh, that's racist. I can't believe this movie. We're not going to watch it, or they're assholes, or the people that made the movie are white supremacists. Instead of like actually watching the movie and seeing more, like, because that's what Planet of the Apes does, and this new one does it in some points too. They're like trying to show you this stuff in like a thoughtful way. It's never like, oh, like it's never black and white. It's never black and white. Right. It's a lot of gray area. Even with this new movie, it's kind of like the final war between humans and apes. But like, there's still a lot of backstory for the humans, and you could see the struggle they go through too. It's never just like, oh, humans are evil white supremacist, just like, I don't know, Nazis or something that you don't sympathize with at all. It's like there's a gray area, and that's what most good movies do. And I think a lot of this race baiting and stuff, especially on this one, it just ruins the art, Yeah.
Well, and I want to, like, about the original Planet of the Apes being like racial, like if it was, like, the message isn't what people think it is, because like I've seen it. I'm not like, I don't have it fresh in my mind because it was a long time ago. Maybe the Tim Burton one was clumsier because everything about the Tim Burton one was clumsier. But like the apes were enslaving the humans, right? Mm-hmm. And like they were doing things that were quite similar to what happened to Africans under slavery, right? But it's like putting, and like, the actors were mostly white because it's the 1960s. Like, let's keep it real, right? But it's like putting humans, Americans, white people, whatever, like, whichever like rung you want to put it in the 60s movie, in the position of slavery. So it's like really an anti-slavery movie. Like, if you really, because it's like, it's humans being the victims of it. You know what I mean?
That's a lot. That's what I would say. That's very similar to what happens in War of the Planet of the Apes. Like, if anything, if you take anything away from it, it's like there's some parts that do seem like slavery. I think I mentioned this to Sean before the show, but there are some parts where they do comment on it, but it's never like black and white. I mean, obviously slavery is bad. So the point is, yes, it is anti-slavery, but it's not like, oh, black people versus white people. Like, it doesn't connect like these other race baiters are saying. Like, really what it is in this movie specifically, it's like, okay, and it plays in the original movie as well.
Yeah, and
like, it's anti-slavery. It's like they show the humans enslaving. Well, this one shows the humans enslaving apes. The one you're talking about is apes enslaving humans. It's like, okay, that's an anti-slavery message being told like two different ways.
Right, and it might be sloppier in the modern film, but like they did the same thing to King Kong. Like when Kong Skull Island came out, they were like, the original King Kong is racist. I've seen the original King Kong. By the way, so much better than the Jack Black ones. Kong Skull Island is legit though, and the World Trade Center King Kong is bullshit. But the original like 30s King Kong is not a movie about racism. It's a movie about New York, right? Because you watch the movie and Kong is this big badass motherfucking gorilla. He's the shit, right? On his island, he's the shit everywhere. He comes to New York, right? And then all of a sudden, you see him in New York climbing up the Empire State Building, and he's this little tiny speck. And then he's a thing in New York for like a minute and he's gone. Like that's a movie about New York, right? And there's like racial elements, but if you watch the movie, it's like anti-Asian racism with some random guy on the boat, like the original movie. But like Kong is not a black person. Right?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you're saying they have there are racial elements, and that's okay. And it's just usually it's done well, and it's not these racial elements that these people are claiming on Twitter at all, or the one guy who sees himself in the movie. I mean, that just is ridiculous. The blue jacket thing is totally like him projecting himself, like he just wants it to be him, and so bad. Like no one knows who you are, dude.
But for Kong, what I was saying, and I'm sorry, I'll let you guys jump in right after this. But for Kong, it wasn't even like all the racial components are completely external. At least Planet of the Apes was trying to do something along that line. But like Kong, it's a movie about like if you think you're a big badass motherfucker and you come to New York, you're gonna be nothing and gone in 15 minutes, right? It's a New York movie. Like watch it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's totally it. And it's just people taking it the wrong way, and I don't know. I think just being a little overly sensitive a lot of times, and a lot of times I think it's just for attention too. It's like, oh, we need to make something racist today. This movie has monkeys in it, so they're obviously black people. I think that's the worst part about this setup is like Dude, no, no one's saying black people are like apes. Like that's just the worst conclusion you could draw. And if you go that far, you're just really, really desperate.
Yep, sounds like they're calling themselves. Sounds like they're calling themselves apes, basically. You know, what I mean, that's like what we've been saying.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. It's like calling yourself one more than we are, and then it's like you're telling us what, or not us, not specifically, but like maybe the filmmakers or whoever wrote the script or something. It's like not that at all, especially when you watch it. And I don't see how people can really come to these conclusions so early without even seeing the movie. It's like it wasn't even out yet.
Right.
I always saw the movies as like kind of like man kind of versus science, not really a versus nature, but it was kind of like man created this like super intelligent beast that's now coming back to bite him in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's a good one.
It also references the fact that we put, animals in cages all the time and basically enslave them. That's the way I always thought of it, as well as the whole racism thing. As far as that goes, I've never really attributed any movie to racism. And it's always been my opinion that if you are one who gets offended by racist sentiments or racist anything, I've always thought that racism is like the symptom of a weak mind. So if you get offended by racist sayings, slurs, or anything like that, I just think it's your mind's weak.
Yeah, it's a base reaction.
Exactly.
No, it's the simplest one too. It's like the simplest explanation for everything. Like just saying it's comes off as racist. It's just so knee jerk.
I was going to say real quick too that I thought King Kong was kind of like a globalization like analogy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, not so much the island, but they bring him back. They bring an element of that world back to the real world, like the present or whatever you want to call it, and he can't like integrate or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too deep into it or something, but.
No, you're getting there. I think this is good to talk about too, like to really like what is the real themes here? Like it's not racist themes. It's more something like God was saying, nature versus science kind of thing, right. Or stuff we touched on a little bit earlier, like say humans versus animals. There's also a lot in this one because the first one, like we were talking about the James Franco Planet of the Apes, like I said before, is very scientific, and that's why they set it up like that, because they wanted it to be like, oh, we messed with science. You don't mess with nature. Almost now they say it's almost like a Jurassic Park kind of thing, like too much experimenting gone wrong.
It's also I got a question about like are you referring to the Jack Black one or the original one? And then the second one is like I see the Planet of the Apes as almost like Terminator with monkeys, like because we created them and then they fuck it up and we know the future is going to be fucked up.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And I think it's also too, it's just like one of those movies in a grander scheme for the Planet of the Apes. It's like just kind of like an end of the world kind of thing. It's a little more elaborate, but this is a movie talking about how human civilization ends. And it's not just like a disaster movie. It's more like, okay, it didn't just end; it got taken over by apes. So that was a lot to do with it, and that's like a lot what played out in War of the Planet of the Apes. Again, no spoilers. No spoilers really needed. I think a lot of people can guess what's going to happen, but Planet of the Apes. Good.
There's a movie called Planet of the Apes that takes place after this movie.
Okay.
Like you should know where it's going is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's just something I talked about last night. Yeah, I know what you're saying, because it's almost like I think a lot of people didn't notice this, or it's just not sold this way, because probably for obvious reasons, as you'll see. Like this is actually a prequel trilogy. Like they don't call it that because I think Star Wars kind of tainted the idea of a prequel trilogy, and maybe no one would want to call it that after that. But yeah, like this trilogy is basically like what happened, 3 movies of what happened like before the original Planet of the Apes movie.
Is there any I'm going to see the movie either way, it doesn't matter. Is there any room for like more movies like before the Charlton Heston movie? I don't think I've ever seen that one the whole
like
way
1,000 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
It seems like, I mean, yeah. Again, this is good to know. Like, I don't think anyone cares, but yeah, it's like it sets it up. You know that
okay.
I don't.
So
I
it's
think
not
they're
like
ending
20
it
years or something Okay.
No. I mean, I think the stories are different. Like they've definitely retold a few parts of the original movies as far as like what happens with Caesar and stuff. But yeah, it's like it's set up. I mean, I think they're doing this as a trilogy. I don't even know if that's 100%, but it seems like it's like a 3-parter, and then there's obviously room for sequels because again, like I was saying, it's basically prequels, and there's room for sometime later after these for the original movie to happen, for Charlton Heston to crash his plane there or his spaceship.
It's a soft reboot because it's really just everything is really a reboot but with the same label, and it's supposed to fit in the timeline, but it's like all new stuff. But like the first movie, the first James Franco movie, they had in the background the ship going up into space. That's the ship that Charlton Heston's on, and he gets sucked into a black hole.
It's called Icarus.
Something like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
he gets sucked into a black hole.
And I missed like the first 5
lands
minutes
on,
of that movie, but yeah, okay.
Yeah,
and it's like on the news or something.
Yeah, and he lands in the 8th planet. And he thinks he got sucked to another planet because it's so far in the future. So don't quote me on 1,000 years, but it's like 200 years because they refer to Caesar as like their god.
Because all I remember about the first the first Charlton Heston movie is them referring to Caesar as like they're like the ape god basically or something like that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I really remember about it.
It's this is just the story of like Caesar basically.
Okay.
Right, and it gets into more like the original movies. Or the Charlton Heston original, it's like it's kind of like you said, 200 years later, like it's already been switched and the apes have taken over. And then this one is kind of like the story of the apes, like because the first movie there's no smart apes yet. It starts in normal present day, and then they eventually slowly get into this is how the apes are going to take over things, and this and that happens. There's a lot to it, But yeah, it's like it's like a different. They're putting a lens on a different part of the timeline.
Right.
Yeah. So we're talking Planet of the Apes. We're past 2 hours. We're gonna start wrapping things up pretty soon. I'm checking out the chat. I got 197 people watching. You guys are awesome. 100K subscriber special. Hell yeah. You guys are the best. We got memes 2017 in the chat. Killed by Bigfoot. We got Steph VD, Big J XX, great names, Jay Jimenez. But seriously, racism is not cool. I agree. I think we can all agree racism is not cool. I think
Absolutely.
I think the biggest thing now is just people talking about racism too much, not even necessarily the racism. We do got a new super chat. If anyone else wants to super chat, we're going to be coming off soon. So you got one last chance to jump in. Thank you again, Micro Colonel. That's awesome. $2 Canadian. He says, Planet the Apes talk is scaring off your viewers. Yeah, it might have gotten a little too nerdy there for a second. I think it's also just been a while. So we will take your last questions. Yeah. I'm going to read the regular chat, and we're going to wrap this up. But before we go, thanks again, Christian. Thank you, God, Michael, and Sean, of course, the actual Justice Warrior, for joining us. You guys are awesome.
So, what is $2 Canadian in real money?
I don't know. I think you have to first
real, so
it's like a little less. I think you have to transfer it to rubies, and then you gotta know a troll that lives under a bridge, and you gotta answer a riddle, and then he'll give you 50 cents to every Canadian dollar. I think that's how it works. I think that's how international.
Yeah, it can't buy a lot because I know Canadians are dumpster diving in record numbers now.
yeah, I hear a lot about that too. Someone just said they just subscribed. Thank you, Steph. Russian hacked Hillary's health. That's a good one. Micro Colonel has coming in with the actual transfer. It's $1.58 US. So we weren't far off. Maybe just a little easier to transfer. I think it'll just go through PayPal. No worries. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. We're about to just close things up. It's been a great, awesome long stream talking about everything. What do we go over today, guys? We went over Spider-Man controversy. Good stuff. Good movie. We went over Freegan Gaines, the new. I feel like if you call him Freegan Gaines, he's like a I don't know, like a superhero that's gone like supernova or something. He's like a what do they call it on Dragon Ball Z? It's like a Super Saiyan. he's gone super vegan, so he's like super vegan gains now because he's freaking dumpster diving. He's really trying to reduce that harm. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him for being honest, you know, and really trying his best. And he's not the smartest guy. I don't know if he'll survive the food poisoning, but it's a noble effort nonetheless. Thank you, Mo Harrow Pen Assault. Cool, interesting name. I'm sorry if I didn't say it right, but thank you for the $1.77. Every dollar helps.
I think it's Mo European Assault, like more European Assault.
Oh, okay. I think he gave you $1 for every gender that exists.
Okay, cool. So almost 2. That's good. I think, but actually, $1 is in girl dollars, so it's 70 cents to $1. I got you. Okay, good joke, good times. What else did we talk about today as a quick recap? We went over the watch cut updates, the horrible jerking off videos. That was a nightmare. They haven't learned their lessons. Shia LaBeouf was in the news this week. We talked about some of his movies. It's sad to see an actor that's a lot of us liked go down this rabbit hole. Not really many updates on that besides that crazy line he threw out against a black person saying they're going to hell, which I don't know. Maybe he is going to hell. Who knows? We ended on Planet of the Apes and the racism talk and the movie. Recommend the movie. Everyone should go watch it. Not paid to say that. I'm just a movie lover, so I would take that with a grain of salt too, because I do see a lot of movies. But yeah, it was a great stream. Great fun. 100K subscribers. Hopefully we can get to 200 one day and just keep on trucking, keep on rolling. Thank you guys for coming on. Any last words from the Peanut Gallery?
I'll dive in. Basically, you know, I've said this to you, no bullshit, several times. I mean, like all you have is the mission and the message. You know, and I think that you're really on the right track here, because, you know, your subscribers are just blowing up here. You know. So as long as you stick to what works, you know what I'm saying, you know, that's like your meat and potatoes, just bashing the left, you know what I'm saying, like putting them on blast, you know.
Hell yeah. Thanks a lot, dude. Know? Yeah, appreciate that. Absolutely. That's awesome. Christian or Sean, you guys want to say bye? Sean, do you want to, maybe Sean first, but want to plug your channel or your latest video?
Yeah, I'm what you call it. I'm close to 1,000 subscribers. This is my chase to 1,000 is what I'm on now. I'm at like 800. So if you guys want to check out my channel, it's youtube.com/the actual Justice Warrior. Links in the description.
Yeah, I got the link below. You guys can check that out. Good videos. Tell us about your latest one.
My latest one, I break down the 2 sociological theories, but that's boring. I basically explained why the left acts the way they do about race and gender, and how it is directly linked to their ideology. And it's in under 5 minutes. You can't beat that. I mix in some music. It's fun. I'm gonna do live streams on my channel soon, and I'm actually gonna get somebody on the first live stream from the TYT network.
Cool.
To come on the stream against me. So that's gonna be fun.
Nice.
Good stuff. Yeah, definitely go check him out. Thanks for coming on again. We did a collab video too, and I've watched a lot of your stuff. Always good videos, good edits, good message. Good stuff. What about God or Christian? You guys want to say bye-bye?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Same as well, and I'm looking forward to the $1,000 Patreon face reveal.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. That is on the docket. We got 100. If once I get, not 100,000. Once I get 1,000 of face reveal, and I think at 500 goal, I said I'll get a PO box and maybe do some unboxings and see if you guys send me some weird stuff. But we're doing pretty good on Patreon too. Just so you guys know, trucking along. I think we're at about 230 a month. I got like 60 people, which I think is amazing. And I'm just happy to see it growing one by one. If you guys have the time or the extra cash, $1 a month really helps. We do bonus videos on there. And we got 3 of my top level awesome Patreons, Christian, God, and Michael. Let me thank you on the microphone in person for supporting the show. You guys are on the ground, helping me out, helping me pay the bills, keeping this shit going. And I love you guys for it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Fucking A. So great show, great stream. Thanks again for everybody coming on. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day. Make sure you hit that like button before you go to spread the word on No Bullshit. 100K subscribers. It's been awesome. Love you guys. Peace. Bye-bye. I'm out of here.